Hi guys, let's talk about something that's very important in yoga, and that is what is the role of guru? Do you really need a guru to practice yoga, or you can do it all by yourself? Guru is not really required. This is a question that has been asked by many people over millennia. For thousands of years, people have been asking this question: why do I really need a guru? Why can't I do it myself? Once I know the techniques, I can practice it. Okay. Before we go further, let me try to just remind you one thing, and that is just try to clarify what exactly yoga does. What's the ultimate objective of yoga? Whatever methodology one may practice, the ultimate objective of yoga is to connect the conscious mind, not subconscious, not unconscious, connect the conscious mind with the innermost self, with your core consciousness, right? What you call myself, your innermost self. Why? Because your innermost self is bliss, consciousness, and existence. It is pure bliss and infinite potential. It is eternal. So once somebody gets in touch with his inner core, inner consciousness, what people call as self, he realizes that he is immortal, and he is always in bliss, always in joy, always in happiness. It doesn't matter what the external conditions are. And it is almost like altering a consciousness, where previously one used to be living in stress, fear, and always struggling to achieve stuff, and all of a sudden the consciousness is altered because his conscious mind is connected to his inner self, and now he is all the time in happiness, in joy, and things start happening on its own just by mere wish. So everything all of a sudden has changed. So that's primarily the objective of yoga. But the problem here is one: how to turn your conscious mind inward. Because to connect your conscious mind with your inner core or your core consciousness, you need to turn it inward. A conscious mind is always running outwards. It is chasing various things. It's trying to satisfy its desire, trying to achieve things, trying to gain name and fame, trying to do stuff on the outer world. So it is all the time chasing outer world. So how are you going to turn this mind inward so that it can go deeper and deeper, and finally it can get connected with the inner core? It might appear simple, but it is nearly impossible to do by one's own self. By your own effort, trying to do it is nearly impossible. It is almost like, let's say, the Ganges starts from Himalayas, right? From thousands of feet above the Himalaya. From the glacier it flows downwards, and this goes into ocean. Now all of a sudden, if somebody says that the current of Ganges should turn backwards and start following towards the peak of Himalayas, you'll say it's not possible. The water cannot flow backwards. It is exactly the same, because that's not the nature of water. Water's nature is to flow downwards. It cannot move upwards. It is exactly the same thing with yoga also. By nature, our mind is conditioned to move towards external objects. You can make your mind to focus on science and technology. You can make your mind to focus on mathematics and physics and computer science. You can make your mind focus on so many things, and it will work perfectly fine. But the moment you expect your mind to turn inwards, not outwards, you realize that this is really difficult. And that requires tremendous amount of energy. And our conscious mind just doesn't have the amount of energy that is required to turn it inwards. You can be conscious of your body, but turning the mind inwards, it's very hard. I'll give you an example. Tell you a story rather, and the story will tell you. I'm not going to get into the full story, but the story is about churning the ocean. So it's a story in Indian mythology. It's about demons and gods. By the blessings of the Lord, they wanted to churn the ocean. So they said that we want to become immortal. We want to become powerful, immortal. So God said that go and churn the ocean. They said, but how do we churn the ocean? What is the object through which we will churn the ocean? Ocean is vast. They said, go and get the mountain Mandara and bring it to the ocean, and you can churn that ocean, and if you keep churning, ultimately nectar of immortality will come out, and you can drink it and you can become immortal. They said, wow, great. So all gods and demons, they went together and they tried to move the mountain. It was impossible. It didn't even budge. And after all these efforts, they came back and they prayed to Lord. They said, we can't even make the mountain move. How to bring it back to the ocean? And then Lord said, okay, don't worry, I'll help you out. So Lord brought it to the ocean, and then gods and demons started churning, and finally the nectar of immortality came out and gods became immortal. So this story is a very symbolic story, just like anything else in the mythology. This talks about a very, very profound truth and profound mystery of yoga. So all that it's trying to say is that your ocean of consciousness of every individual lies within him. It's in his heart, in his spiritual heart. Now the point is that he needs to bring his mind, which is always following outside world, to bring it back into his heart, into his inner consciousness, so that he himself can realize immortality. He can become powerful, he can become happy, he can become immortal. Right? And the problem is, with all the powers, we have both divine powers and demonic powers within us. Like we have power of, let's say, forgiveness, of love, all the great qualities that we have, which are divine in nature. We also have demonic powers: aggression, anger, jealousy, hatred, wrath. But with combining all the powers that is our disposal, we will not be able to make this outward moving mind to turn backward into our consciousness, so that we can connect it with our inner soul. And that is the difficulty. So then what happens when we have a guru? Now you realize the challenge, like it's nearly impossible. It's very, very hard. It requires maybe lives and lives of practice to do that all by oneself, and even then there is no guarantee of success. So what happens is, the disciple tries to find a guru and surrenders himself to the guru. And guru, because the guru is already connected with his inner consciousness, he has infinite powers, spiritual powers. So through his powers, he will help you to turn your mind inwards. All that he does. People think guru tries to give you lessons, he teaches you about scriptures, he tells you all kinds of stuff. No, it is nothing to do with the lessons that guru teaches you. That's not the job of a guru. Anybody can teach you the books, you can read and learn the lessons. That's not what guru does. All that the guru tells the disciple is your own infinite potential, your own bliss, your own joy, your own immortality is within you. All that he is trying to do is give you some guidance, and by his own power he'll turn your mind inward. So once he turns it inward, then you practice until you make a permanent connection with your inner self. So guru has only one job to do. He tells everything that you are looking outside is right within you. But once you turn your mind within and you get connected with your inner self, you will be able to realize you already is immortal. You have infinite powers within you, and you are all blissful. You don't have to look for happiness outside. Everything is there within you. That's what the guru says, but the saying is not the point. The point is, he applies his own spiritual energy to turn your mind within. I'm telling you all this because I also fell into the same exact trap. I tried to try for a long period of time by my own effort, and I realized how hard it is. You can be practicing meditation every day for 2 hours, 3 hours, for years and years together, and you realize that it's so difficult. But once you get the grace of Guru, the whole thing is so easy. So from my own mistakes, there are a lot of other people also, the great spiritual practitioners and teachers, they all have agreed on one thing: you need the help of Guru. But then you will ask, who is a Guru? We'll talk about who is a Guru, how to find a Guru. That I'll be talking about in my next video. But realize one thing, it's very, very clear. You need a Guru to turn your conscious mind inwards, so that you can establish connection by your own efforts with your inner core, and your inner core is bliss, consciousness, existence, so that you will be in perfect happiness, perfect joy all the time. You realize your own immortality, and you realize that you have infinite powers within you. And that's all I have to say. Thank you all. Thanks for listening. Thank you. Bye.